All right, everyone. Welcome back. We are live today with Andrea Freire Knuth, and she has, I think we've known each other for 2, 3 years now. It's mostly through HBS Online Connect, probably some of the other stuff, but I think Connect is probably the main thing where we know each other. Just like with Janine and several other speakers we've had. The main thing is um, Andrea has done some really interesting things that most people never get to do in their lives. So obviously, we want to have her tell us about it. Uh, Andrea, welcome. How are you doing?
Hi, Scotty. How are you? It's nice to see you virtually this time.
Yeah,
Looking forward to another on-campus meeting
definitely.
soon,
Hopefully in May 2022.
hopefully.
So yeah, how you doing? I guess you've told me some stuff about you. I guess, go ahead and tell the viewers about yourself. Stuff like your hobbies, passions, missions.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, you asked me a little bit about what are my hobbies, passions, and stuff like that. Um, well, I have one of these hobbies that I've always enjoyed in my life, and that is oil painting. Um, I really love it. I don't have time to do it, but I have done a few of my own paintings, which I'm very proud of. and well, I'm also a meditator. I love to meditate, and that's also been part of my life. Since high school, I attended um, um, a high school where meditation was part of the high school curriculum. So we had to meditate twice a day,
Hmm.
every day that I attended high school. So it became part of me. It became part of who I am, and it is of tremendous help when you are under a lot of stress and you just need to take some time to meditate. It helps a lot.
Yeah.
And so it is part of my life. Just as technology is, I've been in technology also since I've been in high school because that is where I started studying to learn about technology, and it followed me throughout my career, and I've based my life around technology too. And I like traveling, hiking, learning about historic places, you know, about the communities where I go to, museums. Uh, I believe that families are our main and most important community that we all have. So we have to make sure that we take care of our families, and also with meditation, I've also believed that the way we think and the way we speak, it charges our energies, and we need to be cautious of what we think and what we speak about the world and about ourselves, and about everything. And of course, God is my source of support.
Well, I would say probably the entire HBS online community, the tech community as well. I think, like you said, finding that support, whether it's family, friends, because there's different types of support, and not to diminish any type. It's just that there's different types, and family, friends, and uh, colleagues, coworkers, just in general. I think, well, obviously, having that balance for you talking about oil painting and meditation, engaging with people, there's a lot of different ways to find that support. But in your life, that actually led to, in your personal life, that actually led to a lot of things in your professional life.
Yeah.
So, of course, we already know the next question, but for everyone, tell them how, based on these connections and support groups you've talked about, how did you become interested in tech and analytics?
Um, well, to start, like I mentioned, back in high school, is where I started learning about technology.
Yeah.
And back then, and I'm gonna say how old I am. Back then, in my country, my home country in Ecuador, where I attended high school, uh, the last 3 years of high school, we had to choose an elective, a professional type of career, or that, our interest that we want to follow. There was biology for those who wanted to be doctors. Even though there are doctors in my family, I didn't see myself as a doctor, so I did not go there. And there was mathematics, and I was scared about all the algebra and the physics. So
Yeah.
I said, no, I'm not going there. And it was this new elective career. There was information technology, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. The new Windows 3.1, were coming out, and I was like, this is interesting. So I did. It was the cool career at the time, and still is. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna follow this. This is interesting. And that's where I learned how to program back then.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not gonna say how I am. COBOL and basic programming. That's what they were teaching. And of course, a lot of the Windows utilities at the time, Windows 3.1, stuff like that, the new computers. And it became my profession, and that's how I continue with technology my entire life. um, but I was also at heart, I wanted to become an entrepreneur because my dad is an entrepreneur, and I grew up around that. I never saw my dad going to work for another company that is not his company. And 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 I remember, he until now he goes to his company, and he makes sure that everything is running well. So when I was a little girl, I envisioned myself running my own company, and that's something that I've always wanted in my life. Um, and at one time, I had the opportunity to work with my father in his company, and
Mhm.
he made me the general manager of the company. And now it's like my responsibility to run this company without knowing how to run a company. But I took the opportunity because I wanted to become an entrepreneur, and I wanted to learn, and my dad gave me the opportunity to do that. So I took that opportunity. Um, but I was already in technology. I had already a bachelor in computer science, and now I was shifting careers to running a business. And I was, through working with my dad, I always thought that companies were going to become technology companies, because we all needed technology. I could see how we will all the companies will need to incorporate technology in their businesses, either with systems, with websites, and things like that. So um, um, for me, it was like, how to learn how to incorporate, how to make technology as part of the business, as part of just like any other department that the company needs to run, accounting, HR, operations, marketing,
Yeah.
technology should be considered there as part of the company. Um, so for me, it became a learning point, especially trying to learn about the company, trying to learn about, yes, I grew up there, but I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So now I'm here trying to learn about the company. So naturally, I went for the numbers. Okay, give me. I need to understand the reports, about inventories, about processes for our customers. And what I realized there is, like, for example, sometimes my family base their their decisions on feelings, and not on what the numbers or the reports were saying. It was just on feelings. So I started using more of the numbers just to show them that it was not like how they felt,
Yeah.
and that it was different. Probably a strategy that we were applying, or how we were managing our budget, how it was the return of investment, how fast it was or how slow it was. Sometimes they were like, why this is not happening too fast? And I had to go back to the numbers and the reports, and I have to start learning how to do visualizations for that, because they did not want to take the time to go through, hundreds of numbers. So that's when, even though back then this is just performance indicators, it's not considered analytics, just reporting.
Yeah.
It is part of what it is now considered analytics, as working with data, understanding data, making sure that you build your strategy and your decisions around data.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sounds like one of the really interesting conflicts is sometimes we're used to doing things a certain way because maybe in the past it did work to a very high extreme. And
Mhm.
we developed this feeling, a bit of psychology, I guess. We developed this feeling of this is the best way to do things. And yeah, maybe it's not as good as it used to be. Things have changed, but it's still the best way. And sometimes that's, like you said, sometimes that's where you can use the numbers to show, hey, actually, there is a better way to do it now. It's just that there's a transition period. It's going to take a bit of time and effort. So it doesn't feel as good, but numerically, the results are better. And this will be sustainable into the next phase of life where, yeah, the thing they used to do, just relying on feeling. I think we all know, there are stories about elders and grandparents. They can't prove it numerically, but when we try to, we figure out they're right and they can't explain it. It's just their experience.
Yes.
And sometimes, obviously they've adjusted their experience because, they've adjusted their instinct based on experience because now they have more tools and we're able to say, hey, um, here are the numbers. And that supports this instinct that we're growing. And then sometimes we can then say, hey, the numbers have to help us. They've helped us grow an instinct that we can now say, okay, every now and then we recognize the moment where 94% of the time follow numbers, but here's one of the very few 6% times where we go against the numbers, but that's because we've grown the experience to finally use the numbers correctly and not to, not like you said, I'm arguing against numbers, but this time I can tell you why, because this fits the 6%. Versus before, when you were showing your family, they probably were saying, well, how do you know? And you're saying, well, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying, here are the numbers. But unless you can prove it otherwise, then my numbers are probably more accurate. So I feel like you probably, you probably had to find a way to communicate all of that.
Yes, yes, of course. It took some time, for our board of directors, our
Yeah.
own family members, to actually trust a little bit more on the data. There's still a lot of decisions that are based on feelings, like you said, because of the experience. Um, uh, and even though sometimes they do the reports, the decisions not always are based on what the report says, just because they know the market, they know
Yeah.
um, uh, the customers, they know the providers and the suppliers and the clients and how things work in that market. Um, but in this time, it's a little bit different now,
Yeah.
because digitizations and digital transformation is changing everything. So behaviors are being changed. Most of the market that my dad and my family is used to is changing, and this is when they need to really consider now, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to handle these changes? Because it's not going to be the same. It's going to take some time, but in the future, it's going to change.
Yeah. Definitely, definitely. And that kind of leads to, we're talking about how tech impacts the future, and you're saying it already is changing. I guess, do you see other ways that, you know, do you see other ways that it will impact the future, or would you say we're already in the future?
I say we're already in the future. And why I say that is because, while we were growing up, or I was growing up, I remember all these movies in the 70s, 80s, 90s. Well, not 70s. I'm not that old,
Well,
but
for what it's
I
worth, I
saw the
do. I
movies.
remember movies from the 70s.
Yeah,
So
I saw the movies.
yeah,
So, they were very futuristic, like technology that we couldn't even imagine at the time.
yeah,
We were like, wow, this movie is like futuristic, and now we are just, we're living that future in
yeah,
in many aspects. And I consider these times to be the golden years of digital transformation, or the digital economy, or the digitization, or artificial intelligence. And that is because there is not much regulation yet around it. That means that you're learning, people are learning, anyone can do it. Anyone who wants to learn um, how to uh, work with artificial intelligence, how to work with data, where to get it, has the resources to do it. They can do it, and they can learn, and they can create things that will be they will be amazed what they're creating. So this is for me, this is the golden year of artificial intelligence, and we're just in the creation um, times. And once it gets saturated, uh, we will have a lot of restrictions, and a lot that we won't be able to do, just like anything else. When things start to be created. So I see this time. This is a wow time in my lifetime, that I am seeing all this transformation happening. And it's a little bit scary at times, because I also see the new generation in my family. um, they 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 can care less about how technology is created. They really don't care. They just like to use it. And 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 it's just like everything, right? It's just like TV. When TV was created, how you use it. You
yeah,
have TV programs that are um, good for learning, and that are used for learning, and there are others that they're not. And I remember, you know back then, when there weren't even flat TVs.
yeah,
There were these big boxes. And I remember my family would be like, you watch TV only until 8 o'clock at night, and then you go to bed.
yeah,
Now they go to bed with the cell phone next to them, and who knows at what time they go to bed.
yeah,
But it can be I mean, it is what it is. That was our technology back then. Now this is their technology that they're experiencing. I don't know how a TV was built, so they don't care about how phones are built, or how the systems are built behind it. They just care about using it.
yeah,
um, but there's a lot more access for them that it is, that we had with a box.
yeah,
And so sometimes it does scare me a little bit on how things can evolve in the wrong direction. But I also see great great things that can be done with it. I think it's amazing. I think we're living through amazing times. And I'm happy to be part of it. I'm not gonna lie. For me, it's exciting. I like it. I enjoy it. I read a lot. I look at these crazy videos of how robotics are being built using water, trying to
yeah,
trying to emulate the human body. It's amazing. It's amazing how far we've gone with technology and artificial intelligence and machine learning in a short period of time, considering also the pandemic times that accelerated all these technologies by 10 years, which is impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's one of those things, there's always a bit of I'm not sure what the word is, but uh I guess unfortunate that as we improve technology, the foundations and basics needed to build that stuff sometimes gets left behind,
Yeah.
which at the same time, we could argue, even though I might not be very familiar with how to fix my own car, I'm very aware of how I can use it, how fast I can go, what kind of gas I need to get and stuff like that. Um, I think another thing is I don't know how to build a computer, but I know a lot of different things I can use with my computer and how to even build a digital nomad lifestyle around it. And especially now with the remote revolution, how do I go from a digital nomad to being in one place? And yet I'm even more connected now than I was uh, 20 months ago. Yeah, because March 12th last year was the first day of my shutdown. A day before the national emergency declaration, the basketball tournament started getting shut down. And so for me, March 12th, and, we're looking at November 11th right now for me. So yeah, that's 20 months ago. And where until March 12th, I was much more mobile. I was much more of a digital nomad. Now I'm stuck in one place, and yet I'm much more connected globally. And I would say, that's the impact of the remote revolution. It just has really led to, the interesting dichotomy of I still don't know how to build a computer, and yet I can use it in ways that I could not have imagined 20
Yeah.
months ago. So, there's always a little bit of that trade-off. And, unfortunately, for those of us who have been in the positions of building these tools, we do wish that, the future generations know it as well. But, sometimes, it's just exciting to see what they're doing with the tools. So, of course, that said, you mentioned a few different communities in your life, whether it's family, your country, your industries, and all that. What do you hope to see for your community or communities, however you define that? What do you hope to see for them?
Um, well, and of course, my family is my community, and and I always hope that that they're able to use technology in the best way possible. I want to become the person that becomes the regulator,
Yeah.
but uh, uh, whenever I can, I make sure that it's not just for TikTok or YouTubers. There's a lot of good things also. I mean, YouTube is good. TikTok too. It depends on how you use it, where you use it. But there are a lot of good things that are coming out with technology that are impressive. Like for example, I like the new virtual museums because I like to visit museums when I travel. And I'm like, okay, now I don't have to go there, and I can just tour the museum. And I've done that, whenever I see the opportunity. Um, but hopefully that won't, stop me from traveling.
Yeah.
uh, so um, one of the communities I know, there are a lot of help that we need to give to many types of communities, and we are going through also times that um, are really critical for many communities. Let's just say, diversity and inclusion, We have those type of communities. It depends on what we want to focus on that aspect. Women, Latinos, Blacks, all Black people,
Yeah.
brown people, how they call us now, brown people. Um, so it depends. It depends, and there's a lot to be done. There's also refugees communities, and there's a lot that I think that we can help. And with all of that, I do believe that many communities, as they try to help each other, they try to come up. They're going to also try to become innovators. They're also going to try to come out and have their own businesses and 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 build stronger communities. Be active, be proactive, and try to in a way support each other, support the families, create work around their communities. And with digital transformation, with this economy that it is becoming a digital economy, I want to give emerging communities. I want to give small and mid-sized businesses the opportunities to also be able to digitally transform, because otherwise, um, it's going to be tough for companies that are not digitizing properly to become sustainable. So I'm trying to with my business, which I now have. I became an entrepreneur in technology, where I offer digital strategies for companies, small and mid-sized companies, that do not have the means to have full IT departments and hire, project managers, developers, create all this infrastructure that will help them, have their own IT infrastructure. So I'm trying to help companies not only to take some data, analyze it. Let's just forecast, have a historical data, do some forecasts. Let's see how our predictions are in place. It's not just about taking data and visualizing data to digitize and be part of and helping companies be part of this digital transformation and be part of a digital economy. It is helping them to also have transform their normal business to a digital business. And it's challenging because it's not like a big company that have the resources and have they can just go into experimentation and it didn't work out and then there were millions of dollars lost. Small and mid-sized companies cannot afford to do that. So we need to be very careful on how we apply these strategies and what directions they take. So, but I like to do that, and it becomes even more challenging because I become accountable at making sure that they don't lose the money, the
Yeah.
budget that they have, and that I'm actually helping them to see tangible steps and to be able to see that becoming a digital business, it's for them, it can be a reality. um, so that's the community that I'm working in, the small and size businesses, and
Yeah.
hopefully I will help more communities, not only um, you know the businesses that are formed now, but also in the future, you know helping communities that want to thrive there, want to make sure they also contribute to their own communities and help them do that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to apply your talents to supporting lots of different communities and, the remote revolution, the digital transformation, uh, just a lot of what you've been doing through your life, you're able to apply it. And I think it really just comes down to everyone has to decide what skills they want to learn and then how they want to use it. And in your case, this whole time you've been talking about using numbers to show here are better ways of doing things. Not to say we don't care about tradition or feelings. It's just to say when has tradition and when have feelings become something that's not as good as something new. And then we adjust, we make make a change, we improve everything, and then everyone's happy again. Everyone's getting what they want. And, of course, finding the right way to apply the numbers. So it's not just destroying everything, but saying, how do we evolve things in a healthy way? So, really appreciate you telling us all that. We do need to wrap up, however. So I would like to ask if you have any closing words you want to leave everyone with.
Well, I want to thank everyone for listening to our conversation. It is exciting for me to talk about technology and analytics, digital transformation. Although we just talked about experiences and how I got into this world, but I want to let people who are listening to us or seeing us here that we are in exciting times, and what we dream is possible, and that there is nothing stopping us to our dreams, to our goals, to where we want to go and what we want to do. Only ourselves. We are the limitators of our lives,
Yeah.
and we put the limits. How far we want to go, how big we want to be, where we want to help. Where we want to put our time and effort. But also, it's important that we don't forget that we are still humans, and that that's not going to change.
Yeah.
uh,
That's for
and
better or
that,
worse.
yes, and
Usually
that
better.
it's important that we learn to um, uh, you know share with our families, share with our friends. And I don't want to use the word balance, because I think that's overused, and
Yeah, I usually say rhythm. Everyone has to find their
yeah,
rhythm. Because
yes.
for someone like me, it would seem like I have no balance in my life, but that's just I have a very, very fast pace rhythm that even a lot of my closest friends, it terrifies them. But that's just what I'm used to. That's what I've always been used to. I've had people ask me, "Oh, is it because of ADHD or something?" And I'm not even sure if I have that. If I do, all right, that's fine. I work fine with it. I would say it's more just growing up playing basketball. I learned a very, very fast-paced and aggressive style of basketball, and I translated that into my life. So, yeah, I agree with you. Balance, there's nothing wrong with the word, but I think for some people, a better word would be rhythm.
Yes, yes. So everyone should find their own rhythm, frequency sometimes.
Yeah.
For me, um, we are in this world of technology right now. We are experiencing, we're seeing how it is evolving. Some of us had some, work in different ways. Like, I'm not creating a robot, so
Yeah.
I'm not there. I'm not flying to space yet. I wish I would.
Maybe next
Uh,
Christmas or
Maybe next
Thanksgiving.
Christmas. But it
Yeah,
is
when the pandemic's
possible
over,
now.
it's safer to travel.
It is closer. It is closer, and it is fascinating. I love to watch SpaceX and NASA launching all these fascinating trips. So we are, we are, you know, we can do anything we want right now. That's how I see the world.
That's great. So yeah, Andrea, thank you so much for all of this. We have a lot of other stories that you could tell, but obviously, we can't tell all of them right away. So we definitely would love to have you back. Talk some more about your struggles, your experiences, even more about your leadership. Just in general, the stuff you've learned. But for now, thank you so much for telling us about your kind of your I guess just kind of an overarching view of your life. Really appreciate that. And everyone in the HBS online community, special welcome to all of you watching. Hopefully, we'll be able to get more of our own community on, and everyone participating in the various events that I'm hosting, or if you're just watching this for fun. Hopefully, you've learned something. And if you want to connect further with Andrea and ask more questions, get to know her better, please look below in the video description. You can check for links. We'll have her LinkedIn, maybe a few other things. And we definitely encourage you to connect with her. And, just in general, if you want to find out more, if you want to learn more, then, reach out and see if you can schedule a time with her. So, Andrea, thank you so much for being here, for telling us so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Scotty, and thank you, everybody.